So I wanted to come on here and show you guys this liquidity pool position I entered on March 13th. I'm up about $300 and it's earned about $100 in income, and this is all by taking advantage of the USDC to Solana liquidity pool. In this video, I wanted to dive in how exactly I'm making this income on my crypto and how you guys can possibly replicate it on your own. So if you're excited, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss an upload. Remember, this isn't financial advice. I'm just here showing you my opinion and what I've been doing. So how I've actually been making income on my crypto and how you can too is by taking advantage of the liquidity as a service business model. So I'm sure you're probably already familiar with what it is, but if you're not, I can break it down. So if someone goes to swap one asset for another on a decentralized exchange, they're going to end up paying a fee. So for example, if someone wants to swap Ethereum for Arbitrum, they're going to end up paying about a $17 fee if they're swapping this much money. But what's cool is that a percentage of this fee gets paid back to the people like me who are providing liquidity to these decentralized exchanges. So by you providing liquidity, by you putting up your capital to these decentralized exchanges, you can be making money when people swap one asset for another. So it's a really cool business model that I'm here to share with you guys. And you're probably wondering how we can even find these opportunities in the first place. Well, on the decentralized exchanges themselves, you can always go to the pool section, start scrolling through, and look at some information about the pools. You can see different pools like USDC to ETH, WISE to ETH, DAI to USDC, and these are all liquidity pool opportunities. But the thing is, when you're on Uniswap or when you're on Orca, when you're on these decentralized exchanges, you can't run advanced simulations and you can't even view how correlated the assets are to each other. So we're going to use other software that's very crucial for DeFi investors. We'll be using Metrics Finance. It's the best software for finding DeFi opportunities and also simulating our returns to see what type of income we could be making. And then third, building out our portfolio. And I'll leave a link in the description where you can claim a trial to the pro version, so definitely take advantage of that. But anyways, we'll go to launch app, and this is how you can actually find opportunities just like the one I found, this USDC to Solana position. So now we'd go ahead and go where it says select exchange and look at the exchanges we want to look at. Now depending where we are on our crypto journey, we can select different exchanges. For example, if we're new to crypto, we might want to select all exchanges and just look across all pools. But if we already have experience using different decentralized exchanges and being invested into different pools, there might be certain exchanges that we want to stay on. So for example, if I like being on Uniswap or Orca, I might just select those pools since I'm familiar with them, know how the platform works, and I'm comfortable putting my capital on there. So for example, for now, I'll select Uniswap and Orca. I can also go ahead and select Radium. And then for networks, we can go ahead and look at what networks we want to look at. We can go ahead and look at Ethereum network, Polygon, Base, and Solana. And now we have 1,500 pools to sort through. Now there's a lot of pools. So of course, we're looking for pools that have solid APR. We're looking to make solid income, right? So we're going to want to filter out the lower APR positions. So I like to go ahead and filter out all the positions that show under 15% APR. So we can go higher than, type in 15% APR. Now there's 1,300 pools about. We can also look for some higher TVL pools. So we can look for pools with, for example, 3.5 million bucks in TVL. Now we're down to 50 pools. And then within these pools, some of them will have pretty low average daily fees. For example, this one, USDT to bet, even though it has $250 million in TVL, it's only showing $217 in average daily fees. That is not consistent enough and high enough for me. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 1.5K in average daily fees. We could even go with something like $2,000 in average daily fees. There we go. Now we're down to 37 pools. So we have some very popular pools at the top, like Wrapped ETH to USDC, Wrapped ETH to Wrapped Bitcoin. And then we have the one that I'm in, USDC to Solana. We can go ahead and simulate that in a new tab and dive deeper. And I can show you guys how I'm in this pool making income. And remember, there's always risks to this investing, such as divergence loss. So make sure to do your own research. I just got out of the cold plunge and it literally looks like my lips are blue. I'm just noticing this now. Wow. But moving on, we can go ahead and see our deposit amount and we can type in the amount of money we want to deposit for the simulation. So we can go with something like 9,000 bucks, and then scrolling down, we'd find our range. So we can type in the min price and max points for which price points we want to supply liquidity for. So with this pool, we can go with something like 115 to 180. And with this range here, we're looking at about 53% APR. We could tighten or widen our range depending on where we think the price of Solana will be. So if we think moving forward, the price of Solana, at least for a bit, will stay between $116 and $175, we can go ahead and set up this range, and we're looking at about 58% APR. And this yearly APR simulation is using the past 30 days of data. We could always change this to use the past 20 days of data, for example. Using the past 20 days of data, it's showing 62, 63% APR, so even better. So we can keep this at like the past 15 days of data. Now it's showing 61% APR. Scrolling down, we can see more crucial information, such as the correlation, how correlated are these assets to each other. It's showing negative correlation because, think about it, USDC is a stable coin and Solana is not. So these assets in particular are not going to have any correlation. Scrolling down, we can see more important detailed information about the pool, such as the volume per day and the fees per day. This is very important to look at when you're looking into a pool. I wouldn't want to be in a pool that has very low volume and fees one day, and then the next day it spikes up, and the next day it's super low. So here you can see every day there's a ton of money in both fees and volume, so we are chilling. And when I'm looking for pools, I like to look for pools that have proven track records. And by that, I mean I'm zooming out on the calculation time frame. So for example, I'm looking at the past 140 days of the pool and seeing if there's consistent volume history. Yeah, you can see there's a ton of volume, ton of fees every day. Obviously here, when Trump had his meme coin, Solana was booming, so that's going to be high no matter what. But other than that, you can see we can zoom out even farther to like 160 days and just see there's always been a ton of volume, a ton of fees. So this is one reason why I'm pretty comfortable putting capital into this pool. And then when I go to Orca, my portfolio, I can see my pool at a glance. I can see my balance, my pending yield that I can just take, put into my crypto wallet, and then I can see where the current price is compared to my price range I have set. But over on Metrics Finance, the track feature is super useful. I like looking at this more than the Orca track feature. And remember, you can claim a trial to the pro version of Metrics Finance by clicking the link in the description down below. Anyways, we can see our versus holding on in the market, our asset gain, our ROI, and our APR. We can also see earning projections. So all this is very sweet, and you can go ahead and check it out on your own, like I said. If you've learned anything in this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. And comment down below what other videos you'd like to see from me.